Good morning and happy Wednesday, March. Tomorrow is St. Patrick's Day. I don't have anything green, but well, there's actually something green here. Well, happy St. Patrick's. Welcome to the group. I'm Michelle Quay. I am the creator of this group, the Visibility Confidence Lounge, where I invite coaches to come into the group and learn a better way of marketing your business. And sometimes that marketing doesn't mean that you're pushy. So are you open to learn a new way of promoting yourself and your business and stay visible and stay consistent behind your business? Now, doing all that, I'm pretty sure that I don't know about you, but me right now, I feel like my tension is right here on my neck. And I will wake up in the middle of the night and feeling like, oh gosh, I have to wake up in the morning. I feel so tired. Can I just get one extra hour of sleep? But of course, no, because that's not going to happen. The daylight saving time has to be on over the weekend, and you lose actually 1 hour. All right. So, speaking of stress, one thing that drives Amy crazy is the perpetual lie that everyone got stress. It's just like, she believes it's time to stop that epidemic and accept the struggle that we call it what it is. It's BS. So today I'm super excited because I have expert easeologist. She'll explain to you what that means. Amy Honeycutt, she has a secret to share how she can help you achieving far more enjoyable life and have a stress provable life. I'm having a good time up here, but I don't want to just be on the stage by myself without having her joining me. So I'm going to bring her onto the show so that she can speak more about what she does as an easeologist. All right, let's welcome Amy. Hi, Amy. It was a mouthful for me to say easeologist. So tell me about easeologist. Well, tell us about who you are.
So I am an easeologist, and I am an expert in helping people find, create, and consistently use their essential and sustainable enjoyment. That is basically without a lot of stress. That is the essential part of who we are meant to be. We are designed as humans to actually operate in a really happy, content, relaxed, and a state of ease. And most of us, 99.9% of the world, is still working on trying to be all stressed out every day, and they don't even know it.
Are you someone who has always been like taking an ease, taking a stand back, and you know what, everything is easy? Tell us about how did you get started?
So the interesting thing is, and by the way, can I just say that that loss of an hour in the daylight savings time, I'm totally with you on that. Like, I woke up that Sunday morning and my husband informed me that it was daylight savings time, and I was like, crap. Really? So thank you for at least sharing that, because it's one of those little moments where you're kind of like, oh, I felt the tension of that experience rise very quickly. Trying to figure out how I was going to make use of that extra hour, right? So I would love to be able to say that I have always been a really laid back person of ease. Like, my life has been completely stressless, but that would be a complete lie, because that is not the way that the world works. And it's not the way that I was actually conditioned to work for a long time. I would say that in my history, one of the things that if I take myself back, I was a competitive athlete in college, championship level. And this was the place where I would have to say I started really putting two and two together about what stress started to look like and how it was impacting me at that time. And I found myself on the edge of my national championship. And I had earned my way there. And I have been very prolific, very successful in my career as a competitive athlete. And but I found myself feeling like something was missing, and I was desperate to figure it out. Like I knew if I went to this championship without getting what I needed, I was screwed somehow. So stress was a little high. But the reality of what that was that I was questioning, how do you believe in yourself? And all of the things that had gotten me there as far as successful, right? Good student, following lots of rules. There were a lot of things in my life that were seemingly, as people would say, going really well. They were successful. But there was this level of tension, this level of disbelief, kind of doubt, this element of push and struggle that was constant. And it was considered normal. And when I asked people around me, I'm like, how do you believe in yourself? Person after person after person would just say, oh, you just do it. And I was so confused by that, because I thought, they're not telling me how to do it, and they don't look any different than I do. Needless to say, that was the beginning of me starting this journey of what stress was looking like. And I was launching into my life as a young woman, then leaving college, having a family, living life. Eventually, I essentially became a massage therapist. And I've been a massage therapist now for more than 20 years. And it's been the combination of experiencing things in my life for my betterment, and the combination of being in my practice, watching and learning the language and the wisdom of the body, that I started to see a very different view of what stress does. How does it impact us? And I started to see it in so many different ways that I started experimenting with myself. I was using a lot of these things. I was watching what was happening with my clients. I was kind of using myself as a self-experiment, really, in stress, and figuring out, could I work with individuals and work with myself and find ways to relieve this kind of stress. And there was a moment that happened in my life where I literally kind of came face to face with being able to have that conversation with what I felt was the deepest part of stress, which for me happened to be a really strong, critical inner voice. And I called it my dragon. Like, it was always breathing down my neck, right? And I have to say that there was a moment in the swirl of things, in the experiment that I was doing of my life and in my work, that it kind of all came to a place of new awareness. I had actually felt the experience of my own ease in a way I had never experienced it before. And it was as if I literally didn't even know it existed. It was that brand new in my own being. And it was like crack. It was addictive. It felt so good. It felt so simple. And it didn't take having to become a monk for 20 years to try and figure it out. It didn't take, right? I started to experiment with my clients, and I started realizing I could actually help them get to this place of ease. And the more that I learned about it, the more I started to change my perspective, that stress is not life. Stress is not norm. That I started to uncover what is stress and how to unlock it for people so that it doesn't show up in their world in ways that are symptoms, but not the root cause. Mm-hmm. So I myself started to live and breathe and walk and talk and kind of start to embody this idea, like, what if I lived my life more in that? And I started to actually condition myself to balance that. And I have access to a state of ease that is much more at my own command. And in a way, it allows me to have access to my resources that truly creates what feels like I'm able to stress proof, because stress is not running me. I can choose to be in my stress in different capacities. And I'm much better at being able to have my life not be run by stress.
I think what's interesting to me is that, a lot of us, especially I think women and even men too, we are very competitive in our life. And
Yeah.
no matter which field that we're in, we're constantly thinking about doing things. And I was actually just on another call, and one of the a gentleman, actually said that, I have to find out a way to do something, do more of what I already do. And I'm thinking that, like, where does that idea come from that we have this need of doing something more and not recognizing the fact that we're already doing it? And so being that competitor, being that competitive mode, it really creates a lot of tension and stress for us. So I'm curious, what were some of the things that really truly show up for you as you started to recognize that stress has been the the underlying, there's a root cause
Yeah.
to that stress.
So as I watched my clients, because they were like the best experiment ever that nobody knows they signed up for, right? But I got the privilege of being able to work with people and be able to see the different varieties. What was the stress and what were the symptoms that people seem to be focused on? And these are the symptoms that I like to say. These are symptoms of struggle. And when we're in these symptoms of struggle, we're actually in the place of being stressed. And oftentimes what I've noticed is that comparison is one, it's conditioned into our culture. We learn everything, even as a child, right? This is an apple, this is an orange. We compare the two. We don't focus on the fact that they're fruit. We're looking at how they're different and compare, right? Mm-hmm. And so we get very conditioned in our experience, in our culture, and the way that we work. Even even success itself is created to be a huge comparative, right? It's first place, or if you're second, then you're the first loser, right? It's not like, I think Ricky Bobby taught me that. Talladega Nights, the movie. This is really funny. But the whole point of reference is that everything about it, even trying to achieve our own success, becomes this level of, as right, you say, people don't recognize what they're already doing. They don't see the success that they're having. They're not noticing the part of the progress or the process that they're in. And why is because things like this will show up. And tell me whether or not any of these are familiar, like feeling kind of out of balance. You mentioned you're feeling tension right here in your neck, right? The physical tension in your body is actually an expression of being in a state of fight or flight. How about feeling pressure or like uncomfortable headaches, right? Low back pain is very common. Headaches and low back pain in the United States, next to blood pressure medication and heart disease, are pretty much what everybody goes to the doctor for, right? I mean, it's hysterical. And rather than give them a pill, we need to actually get them out of stress. So how about some things like kind of a gloomy mood? Everything is kind of like you can't really figure stuff out. I don't know, treadmill, right? When you're stuck on this place where it's indecision. I don't know what's the right thing to do. I don't know where. How about things like, has anybody ever told you you're being too emotional about something?
I'm ready to slap them when they tell me that.
Right? You're like, you're being too emotional, right? Oh, here's a good one that's really common. Procrastination for people. Procrastination is a sign you are in a stressful conflict within yourself, right? The feeling of like a loss of motivation or a lack of passion, or even this sense of like you feel lonely even though you're around people. These are portions, these are expressions, these are characteristics that show up, and they're symptoms, but they're not the root cause. And oftentimes people, the saddest part about it is we have a tendency to blame ourselves or view ourselves as broken or not enough or not being able to, we don't have what it takes, right? So we're not only being kind of, in a way, there's a whole mindset that is a shaming success mindset. Like if you don't burn the boats and make progress, right? But my question is when you can't step off the cliff, are you really honestly doing yourself a disservice by not stepping off the cliff? Right?
We got to get ready to jump all the time.
People are ready. Yeah, people are on the edge, one leg's dangling, and they're not really sure what they're doing, but they feel the loss of stability, right? But what they're not recognizing is that there is a root cause. And if you are locked in your stress pattern, which most humans in our culture happen to be. We drive for it. We live and breathe as if it's a badge of honor that, you know, being stressed out and overwhelmed is just normal. And it's actually not. It really, if we are to actually look at the biology of the human as it sits in its own, all right, our adrenals are literally only the size of walnuts. They're like this big. They sit on our kidneys. Those adrenals are supposed to help us run from the tiger to survive, right? But 99% of the time, people are working those adrenals because they're running from the tiger all the time, right? But I want you to imagine something. And this is good for anyone, but particularly, and especially for your audience, right? They're achievers. They want to make an impact. But the reality of where you are oftentimes is that in the process of you seeking your success, I want you to imagine this as if it's a movie, right? You are trying to sit down and underneath a pretty tree, and you're trying to eat a turkey sandwich and really enjoy it, right? But you're running from the tiger at the same time. Now, does that even make sense? Can you do those two things? One, you could probably choke, because that what my mother always say, don't eat and run, right? So the challenge is that we are actually biologically designed to only run from that tiger on rare occasions. The vast majority of the time that our nervous system is actually created and designed physiologically is so that we actually can sit underneath of the tree, ponder the world, have a happy, content, really enjoy that turkey sandwich, noticing the ladybugs and the birds and the shapes of the clouds. But isn't it strange that we push and don't recognize that what we're doing is conditioning a fight or flight stress factor, and we're really never giving ourselves an opportunity to take a break and be able to actually have the moment. So enjoying where we are when people are in comparison, it can be really difficult because you're not going to see that as well. Why? Because it's not the priority when you're running from the tiger. We're not sitting around saying, oh, hey, how's that sandwich? No, we're running for our stinking lives, trying to make sure that we're getting done what we need to get done, right? And that's why there's this element that it's almost laughable that we're human beings, and the one thing that most people discount is our actual human being, our own physiology in the process. We're listening to this thought, these voices in our head, right? This monkey mind a lot, but we're not actually present in our body. We're not actually able to feel our whole body and do what we're doing at the same time because we're in fight or flight.
How do we get to the root cause? I think, a lot of this, I recognize that I got stressed, and I'm totally recognizing and acknowledging my overwhelming feeling, but how do I find what is really causing this stress?
So there's my first suggestion is that it's time for you to actually experience your own ease. Like, you actually have to give yourself an opportunity to switch yourself out of that nervous system and come into the nervous system of ease, which is rest and rejuvenation. Healing happens only in that nervous system, right? So how about, would you be willing to be a little experiment, right? Okay, my signature, I have what I call as a body compass stacking. And I want to do this with you because, one, it will give you an opportunity to experience it for yourself, and your audience will be able to kind of come along with this and experience it for themselves. I don't have to convince anybody. I just want you to find your own actual nervous system that works for you instead of working against it, right? So I want you to sit on the edge of your table. The edge of your seat, if you would. Just don't sit on the table. All right. So I want you to sit on the edge of your chair, but I want you to put your heels of your feet out in front of your knees. So like if you look down at the back of your knees, just make sure that the heels are in front of your knees, further away from you, right? Okay. And have your feet about shoulder width apart for me. Mm-hmm. So now, do you notice that you can feel the bones in your butt really well?
Yeah.
Okay. Those are the places where I want you to use those two. We're going to use those as a point of reference, right?
Mhm.
Now, I want you to put your hands on the sides of your hip bones. I want you to just feel the sides of your hips so that you know where they are, and push in. And now what you want to do is I want you to imagine there's a bowl of water that you're making with this hip bone. Okay. And what we're going to do is we're going to rock that bowl of water forward so that your shoulders stay up towards the ceiling, but your pelvis is going to rock towards the floor so that your belly button is going to want to fall out, and you're going to make a big giant breath. Okay. And then we're going to exhale, and you're going to pull the belly button back in, and you're going to roll that bowl of water and spill water out the back. Your tailbone is going to tuck underneath of you. You're going to kind of sink, right? So as we breathe in, we're going to come up over those bones, and we're going to roll to the front of those bones again. And you're going to breathe in. Belly button just falls to the floor, opens up, right? Exhale. We're going to pull that belly button back in, and you're going to rock that pelvis back, tucking that tail underneath of you. So notice how I'm going up, right? So breathe in. Good. Exhale. Pull that belly button in, tuck that tail under. One more time for me. We're going to rock that pelvis, spill water out the front, all the way out the front, tailbones up in the back like a duck butt, right? And then we're going to tuck it back, spill water out the back. Good. Exhaling. And now this time I want you to breathe in, and I want you to come to right over those sits bones where you think you're right in the middle. And notice you sink right onto them, right? Good clue is you're going to feel them into the surface, right? But now you're starting to feel, do you notice that your shoulders dropped? Did you notice that your elbows get heavy? Did you notice that your head just kind of sits there? Right? Now put your hands, just palms up, just put your hands on your thighs, right? I want you to notice, what do your feet feel like? They feel heavy? Can you actually feel your feet on the floor?
It feels grounded.
They feel grounded, don't they? Yeah, it's like it feels like everything in your lower half feels really solid, doesn't it?
Yeah.
It's like it's there. Now, do you notice what's happening? And I want to tell you why this is powerful. What's happening in your upper body? Do you notice that you actually feel like just it's really easy to sit there?
Yeah.
You don't have to actually try and, like
hold myself up.
You're not trying to hold yourself up, right?
Yeah.
But I want you to notice something else. Do you notice that your mind, like it's kind of quiet? Yeah. Do you notice that it got really just quiet? Like there's not a lot. Now watch what happens here. I want you to close your eyes, and I want you to imagine. I'm going to say something, and I want you to imagine what I tell you, and I want you to notice your response, right? Okay, Michelle, there's a tiger coming. Now, did you feel a sense of urgency to like open your eyes and figure it out?
No.
What did you feel? What did you notice?
I'm like, okay.
Right? You were just like, it's just acknowledgement. It's like, it's almost, now let me see if this rings true. Does it feel kind of like, okay, well, I'll figure out if that's a problem. And if it is a problem, see if this rings true. I'm pretty capable of handling it. I'll notice when that tiger's coming.
Yes.
You notice that? How powerful is this? Because this is letting you know you have essentially just like, okay, and it's comfortable. It feels good. Do you notice now that the lower half of your body, like your whole body is starting to actually wake up? You can feel like you start to tingle or feel warm, or like there's different sensations that people describe, but you're not thinking a whole lot more. You're actually feeling more of yourself, and you feel actually, it feels kind of good, doesn't it? It just is easy. It's almost effortless.
Yes, and it feels very relaxed. It feels that you are able to be in that present moment.
Yes.
And it's interesting because we're doing interview right now, and there's like an agenda I'm going through, and in every single moment during this conversation. So it feels like as I'm doing the exercise, it feels like, oh, let me just sit back and sink in.
Right.
You don't have to do anything, and things will just go as the way it should be.
Okay, so does that feel like less stress to you?
For sure.
Okay,
and you know what's also interesting? What's also interesting is it feel that my shoulder just all of a sudden it just like released.
That's what I was going to ask you, is like, tell me how that shoulder feels back there. Like, do you feel the tension relief of that muscle, right? Response actually getting some ease. Now, here's the best part. And this is why I want to tell you why this is happening. Because you know, when you stand on a beach and you're in the waves, and while you stand on the beach, all those little sand granules are like pulling out from underneath of you. And you feel like, oh, I might fall, I might fall, I might fall. And then boom, you feel the bottom and you're like, oh, okay, I got this, right? Same thing. Your body is feeling gravity. This is a superior biohack, people. This is me helping you use your own biology to essentially work with yourself instead of against it. We're working with your natural process, your natural reflexes, to give the body the feedback that it needs to know that it is solid, it is on ground, it feels the structure stacked. And just like when you put a blouse on a hanger, you can relax because it has structure to hang on, right? Your body now can relax because it has, the foundation has showed up, the right nervous system of being relaxed is actually activated. And your body responds without a blip. It goes right into it. And the most beautiful part of this is that this has been within you the whole time since the moment you were created. Your nervous system is the solution to you living nearly stress-proofable life. It's whether or not you know how to access it, condition it, and keep it consistent so that you're living your life in what is essentially a sustainable state of enjoyment. And that, my friends, is a powerful, powerful gift to yourself.
Oh my gosh. I'm like listening to you. Here I am, and my heart just like, oh wow, this is powerful shit that you're offering.
This is amazing work. Every human on the planet, my heart, I have a message to share that this alone is something that is simple, and yet it leverages your ability to function in life in such a way that it is transformative. It is absolutely transformative. And and the best part is it is anchored in ease and enjoyment. And those are two things I particularly like a lot.
How do you work with client? Like where is their first step?
Oh my gosh. First step. So they can email me because I have a couple of things that I would love. One is I have a PDF about biohacking that specifically will give you some introductory biohacks that I love to use, right? And so this little PDF, Biohacking the Shortcuts to Shift Stress in Just Minutes, right? And this little bugger here it's a quick read. It's just a little mini ebook, but it's chock full of at least 4 powerful biohacks that start with these, and you enter these into your daily practice. And I promise you, you will see gains immediately in just being able to have the opportunity to give yourself a chance to rest and be in the right nervous system. So emailing me at my, let's see, oh, there it is. I see it below here, Amy at bodycompassmethod.com. I work with people individually, and I'm working towards a group program. But I also have a really wise and very insightful quiz that people can take. And so the other is, my question is, are you stress proof, right? And so learning your stress proof quotient, literally is going to be a game changer for you, because knowing whether or not you are able to stress proof your life, or whether you're still fighting and you're in fight or flight and you're just locked in, we've got to get you unlocked. And this, my friends, is a great place to find out where your hidden stress factors are, so that you can actually start the path of getting yourself into a freer, easier, happier life.
And so I'm assuming both of them, both copies, they can just email you and let you know which one to get. Okay.
Yes, just say, hey, I saw you on Michelle's podcast. Or is that what we're doing? We're podcasting?
Yeah, we're doing a podcast and a live show.
I saw you on Michelle's. I'd love to have the resource, and I will send them directly to you. And then if there's, I work with people individually, And it's a very unique opportunity to be able to help people literally break free from the very thing that's being created within themselves. It's a gift. And I love what I do. And I love the ability to help people come home to themselves in a way that they actually, you know, that's the whole point. Like when you come home, doesn't it always feel good to come home and like your bed, your pillow, like there's just the comfort of it. That's what it should be like to be who you are. There should just be that ease. Like, okay, I'm good.
That's how I felt earlier. I'm like, oh, I'm good.
Right?
Good. Carry on.
Yeah.
Amy. This is not
carry on. I'm just, but okay. So I want it. The thing I want most people to see is like, it gets addicting, and it takes a moment to be addicted to it, because it just feels so good to be at ease and to be that comfortable, to be in the right nervous system.
Yeah. I think one of the biggest struggle that a lot of people have is that we're unaware that this is actually a source of stress. Yeah. And, you know, we're all like doing, even though, you know, a lot of us, we practice self-care. We know that taking that moment to relax, but yet there's still that underlying struggle that we're experiencing in our life where I don't even know where it came from. And it's that moment. And what I'm hearing is by downloading these PDF or getting these PDF from you, they actually have that level of awareness to really look at where am I stressed and how do I actually use this score to assess myself, and how can I improve? So I love the fact that you're creating and bringing that awareness to your clients.
Thank you. And I'm happy to do it, because one person less stressed is a better world, let me tell you.
Yeah.
So true.
Again, they can find you at amy@bodycompassmethod.com. And I will make sure to have that in the episode notes, so anyone who's our listener can go and just hit you up with the email and just ask you for these free resources that you have.
Please do. Please, please, please. You will be better for it, I promise you.
Any last word of advice for our listeners?
The value is life does not have to be stressful, and it is bullshit that everyone's got stress. We don't all got stress. We create the stress, and we can get to the root cause and actually live a life that is naturally supportive of being a much more enjoyable and stress-proofable life. And that's what I want to help people achieve.
Love it. Love it. And I can hear your energy coming through this episode. And I would love to get more people getting your PDF, because I've seen it and I actually experienced it during this episode. So yeah, I'm
That's why you knew that your neck was stressed.
Yep, my neck. And now I feel more at ease.
Right.
So,
yeah.
Thank you so
for
much
having me. Yeah, thank you for having me.
All right, I'm going to put you to the backstage so I can close up the show.
Bye, everyone.
All right, ladies, if you have been stressing out and wondering what to create on your next piece of content, here it is with Amy's Ease, expert easeologist Amy Honeycutt. Hopefully she had given you some great tips on how you can identify that root cause of stress, where it came from. And also go and get a copy of her free resource so that you can learn more about your stress score and how do you improve upon that. And I will have all the information in the episode notes. And if you are in this group, if you're watching in this group, I would love for you to tag #replay. Let me know what you took out of from this episode. And if you're listening as a podcast, I would love to hear and have you come and join us inside the group. Until next time, bye now.